Welcome back, guys, to school. I know, ironic that we're having school in person, and I immediately created a video for you guys to watch. But really, what I wanted to do was A, be able to share this video with our learners that are learning remotely for this quarter, and B, give you guys all a chance to practice one of the tools I plan on using if we all have to go back to remote learning at some point this year, and that's Edpuzzle, which is like a tool that I use along with a video that I create. So, a lot of times, what I'll probably do if we move to remote learning is I'll record my lesson like I'm doing now, like a screen recording, so you can see what I do on the screen and hear me. And what Edpuzzle does is it allows me to ask you guys questions while you're watching the video, and then I get the answers to those questions so I can see how well you did. And that kind of gives me a way to make sure you watch the video because I can see who has and hasn't watched the video, and I can see if you've watched it all the way through. And also lets me know if you're understanding the stuff or not by the whether you get those questions right or not. So I decided let's kind of practice what Edpuzzle looks like with you guys watching a video that just kind of talks about the real basic boring stuff that I honestly hate explaining anyway. The like, how does homework work? How do quizzes and tests work? Blah, blah, blah. So we're just going to do that with this, and you guys will follow along and answer questions when they pop up. So first things first, I kind of went through like how, a day would look in our classroom. So when you guys walk in, um, you won't this year have the ability to kind of mill around and talk to friends. You'll be expected to go and sit in your seat so that you're keeping your social distance. Once you're in your seat and you've gotten yourself unpacked and ready to go from your backpack, then it would be expected that you're going to work on your warm up. The warm up would be done independently. You're not talking to others while you're working on it. It's just for you to do on your own. You'll just be given a set amount of time each day to work on the warm up. So if you finish early, a good idea would be to write down your homework, which will be written up on the board. If you had homework from the previous night, get that out and have it ready to grade because that's what we would do next. Your warm ups. So you have a notebook specifically for math to take notes. The front of the notebook will be for notes. The back of the notebook will be for warm ups. So you'll start at that very last page in your notebook for your warm ups, and then you'll just kind of work backwards. You turn the page backwards. Make sure that you clearly label the date on your warm ups, and that when we go over them together, make sure that you write down the correct answer and any work that goes along with it. Because how your warm ups will be graded is that every so often we'll have a warm up quiz, and you'll be able to use your notebook for that quiz. So as long as you can easily find the warm-ups that I reference in the quiz and you have all the work and the correct answer written down, then you should be fine. You should get a perfect grade on those warm-up quizzes, okay? So that's warm-ups. Notes. So you guys know I used to teach 6th grade. I probably had about half of you in 6th grade when you had me for math. You weren't that great at taking notes in 6th grade. I am hoping that you have vastly improved over 7th grade and then to now, because both pre-algebra and algebra, which are the two 8th grade math classes that I teach, require a lot more work to go from problem to answer, and a lot of steps in between where you have to show that work. And so taking good notes and being able to look back at example problems that you've worked all the way through with your teacher is going to be a lifesaver for you guys. It's hard to just look through a math textbook and understand, like, without the extra explanation, like, what the heck is happening in a problem. So you guys are really going to want the notes where you are able to go through it with me to understand what you're doing. Okay, so if you are not a very good note taker, you're going to want to improve on that skill this year. That's, like I say in this bottom paragraph here, going to be your best resource for if you're confused. Book is fine, but notes that you took yourself and that you can remember, oh yeah, Mrs. Gillespie said this, that'll be better. Homework. Most days we will have homework, not every day, but most days. We will try to have a lot of time in class to practice skills as well. We want to take advantage of this being in person as often as we can. So when you have homework, we'll grade it together the following day. You'll have a chance for us to go over questions together that a lot of people missed or didn't understand. The grading for homework. We will almost always grade homework in 8th grade math for accuracy. How it will work is every time you get a problem incorrect, you'll lose 3%. So not 3 points, but 3%. So consider that a perfect score is 100%, right? So if you get 2 problems wrong, That's 2 times 3% is 6% that you'll lose. Okay, so 100 minus 6 would be 94%. So that's how you'll calculate your grade for your homework. You have to show work on your homework. That was kind of flexible in 6th grade, and we'd say, oh, you can give it back and do your work later, and I'll give you half credit. Not in 8th grade. There's way too much work that has to be shown for a pre-algebra algebra assignment. So if you have an assignment that does not have work shown, it's just going to be considered a 0 and late until you turn it in with work shown. Okay, and that's how you'll see it in the Skyward. So don't bother trying to turn in homework that doesn't have work on it. You will just get it right back with a 0 on it. Okay. Really important to keep up to date on what we're doing in class would be Remind and Google Classroom. I'm guessing at this point you guys all have, or close to all of you have, like a device that has internet access. So I will give you guys in class information for how to sign up for Remind. I'll also have it posted on my Google Classroom. I'll be sending it home to your parents as well. But especially, again, for my remote learners that are watching this, and for potentially all of us if we have to move to remote again at some point, Remind and Google Classroom are going to be like your lifelines, your connection to me and to math class. So you will be getting signed up for Google Classroom day 1 here, and hopefully we'll get a lot of you on Remind as well. So that's where I will post what the homework assignments are, test and quiz date, like upcoming, reminders and stuff. And again, remote learners, Google Classroom is where I will post links to like any videos that I make. So it will be a really important resource for all of us. If you aren't getting it, which can be pretty common in 8th grade math, it's getting more difficult. First of all, try the homework problems. Like, actually try. Don't come in for help with a blank sheet of paper and be like, I didn't get it. Like, I at least want to see something, some effort. That helps me understand where you're at in terms of your understanding and what I maybe need to correct for what you're not getting right now. If you just come in with a blank piece of paper, I don't even know where to start with you, okay? So make an effort before you show up for help. Remember that if I assign problems out of the book, you've got access to the odd problems in the back of the book. You can still come in for help in the morning, but it's going to be pretty strict in terms of them letting you come down to classrooms because, as you guys know, you're going to be waiting in your first period classrooms in the morning. So if you don't have me for first period, your access to get to me is assigned planner, okay? Either by me, because you asked me the day before, you already knew leaving the classroom, like, I'm going to need some help with this, okay? Or your parents have to sign that planner for you, but you're not going to be able to just, like, roll into class. And obviously, if there's too many people already in the classroom, you may be shown away and have to come back at some other time. You can also set up a time for me to come in during study hall. Again, you can't just, like, last minute roll in and hope that that's going to work out. So it's going to have to be set up ahead of time. And I'm not always available during study hall. I may need to sub and help out in other classes. A lot of times we have meetings during your study hall time, so that's something that you have to set up ahead of time. You can't just go to study hall, open up your math book, and go, I'm not getting this, and then ask Mrs. Boberg or whoever to come see me. Okay, so set that up ahead of time. Quizzes and tests, pretty straightforward. We will have them, all right? I will notify you several days ahead of time. We'll have at least 1, sometimes 2 days of review ahead of time, either with study guides or just extra practice problems or review games, whatever, okay? But you'll definitely know ahead of time when you're taking these things, and we will prepare you for them. All right, and then remote learning. So some of you watching this are remote learners. You're at home, and you will be there for the first quarter at least, and maybe longer, okay? So some of you chosen that. Others of you are watching this in my classroom right now. Like I said before, primary mode of communication for remote learning will be Google Classroom. I'll also use Remind basically to send out the same reminders that you see on Google Classroom and say, hey, see Google for more, because Remind limits my characters. When possible, I will share videos with you guys to help you learn the content. I can't promise that I'm going to have a video for you every single day or for every single concept. It takes a lot of time to make those videos. So sometimes Mrs. Will Susan might make a video. Sometimes I might find a video from another trusted source like Khan Academy or something like that that covers what I want you guys to learn. Sometimes I may say, you need to read lesson so-and-so in the book, okay? So I will do videos when I can. I cannot promise you that it's going to be every single time. But when I do, I will share those videos via Google Classroom. It'll be links to my YouTube channel. Edpuzzle is, you are using it right now with this video. So it basically takes a video that I've made and then I can embed questions into it. And like I explained at the beginning, I can see if you watch the video, how much of the video you watched. I can see your answers to the questions. So it's a great way for me to assess how you guys are doing. And this is just a note, this bottom paragraph here, for what I noticed during remote learning in the spring, which is that, so if we go to remote learning, think about when you guys have math homework, you're not going to want to type it. You're going to write it out. That's what I would want to do, is write it out. And you're going to have a lot of work, a lot of steps that I'm going to want to be able to see to make sure that it's correct for when I grade your homework. So you have to make sure that you take pictures I can actually read. I got a lot of pictures of work back in remote learning in the spring that I could not see at all, either because like they held it up and there was a light behind it, so it was basically just a see-through piece of paper and you couldn't see a darn thing on it, or it was super small, or it was super blurry. So you're gonna have to find a way for you guys to take some nice clear pictures where I can see everything. If you are a really light writer, you may need to write in pen instead of pencil. I know that's not ideal normally with math, but it's going to have to be something that shows up, and sometimes pencil doesn't show up great when you try to take a picture of it. So keep that in mind for if we have to submit work virtually, and for you remote learners, that's something you have to keep in mind, is I need to be able to read your homework. I can't just give you credit for doing it, okay? I know that was kind of the way of things in the spring with remote learning, right? It was like, well, they did it. Points for them. Woohoo, we all pass. That won't be the case now. You gotta actually prove that you know what you're doing. And for you to do that, that means I need to actually be able to read your homework. So this bottom sentence here is important. If I cannot read what you guys submit, I'm going to have to enter it as a 0 until you submit something to me that I can actually read and grade for accuracy. Okay? All right, that's all I have for you. We got through the boring stuff, I feel like, somewhat quickly. So when you're done, you can exit out of this video and I'll let you guys know what to do next. Or if you're remote learners, then you're done for now.